Isn't that how it works?
No.
All right. Welcome to the show, everybody. Once again, another special call-in episode. Our fourth, I believe, call-in episode of the show. I am your host, as always, Jesse Dollemore. And seated right next to me, the lovely, talented, scholarly Brittany Page.
Yes. I forgot that we're doing a show, so that's why you were doing your little intro thing.
Yeah.
That you were doing.
Well, I wanted to just roll right into the show so we could, as easily or as much as possible, I want this to be an unedited thing where we just kind of ramble on and talk.
Yeah, like usual.
Waiting for calls, except now we'll have a YouTube audience that'll be in the room.
Right.
We'll be able to interact with.
Right.
As soon as they show up, that is.
There's some people there.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
They're not saying hi, but there are some people there. Yeah.
They're also not calling. So we do this periodically, except usually it's us sitting in a room periodically, meaning not very often.
Yeah. Meaning
And
we've done it 4 times.
This is the fourth.
This is the 4th time that we're doing this.
So maybe I should actually start the show.
What does that mean?
I wasn't recording.
Again?
Yeah, I wasn't recording.
Perfect.
So this is the 4th time.
Mm-hmm.
So let me get all my windows open here. We'll start that one. Oh, incoming call. Thanks for calling. Who is this and where are you calling from?
We can't hear you, caller. Can you hear us?
They will in a second.
No,
hang on. Hang on. One more time. I had to get my settings correct. Go ahead. Who is this and where are you calling from?
Hi, my name is Jose. I'm calling from Los Angeles.
Hey, thanks for calling. What can we help you with? What can we help you with like you're at a Lowe's?
No, it was actually, first off, let me tell you that I'm a big-time fan. I've actually been watching your videos for a long time now. And I've always considered it a delight every time that I get to see the takedown of Tommy Lahren.
Well, I appreciate that.
Well, I did end up having a question, though. The whole gun control right now that is actually being moved on, it's a very serious issue. What I wanted to know is, what are your thoughts on, okay, they do end up doing this in gun legislation so that they could actually, so that assault rifles and all those get banned. However, the big question about it is that, well, here's the thing. Back when there was the alcohol ban, there was still alcohol being gotten basically illegally.
Right.
Do you think that we would actually get a movement like that again, this time with assault rifles? And if that's the case, then how can all this gun ban and everything actually help to stop that?
Well, I don't think there's a one-to-one comparison with prohibition and guns, for instance. Well, first of all, let me say, and the audience at large knows, I'm not opposed to the ownership of guns. I think I think that we do have, well, it's obvious we have a fundamental right to own firearms in the Constitution under the Second Amendment. Because, let me take your logic one step further. Worrying about a large, robust black market in assault weapons is, I don't think, so much of a concern, because there's not a robust black market right now for anti-tank weapons and surface-to-air missile silos and nuclear. I mean, there's lots of things that we're not allowed to own legally under law that no one's clamoring for, and there's not a black market for. Now, the fervor for the AR-15, which was once banned, there wasn't a black market for it then either, it expired in 2004. But prior to that, when it was illegal for those 10 years, there wasn't a black market. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I don't listen. We're never, unless we take away the Second Amendment, repeal the Second Amendment, we're never going to completely do away with the weapons being in circulation. The point of it is to, as a policy measure, lessen the likelihood of these kinds of massacres happening in the future.
No, I'm 100% in favor of it. As a matter of fact, I think that a background checker would actually help out a lot more, and anything to actually help out that kind of a situation. I've actually been all for gun control for a long time, and it's not necessarily that I'm actually up against anything that has to do with guns, but it has actually gotten me worried that once people actually consider that as illegal, then all of a sudden the black market starts moving them a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's certainly a concern. It'll be something that we have to deal with. But, it's not quite the same element because we're not legislating morality with, drinking and such. So, anyway, I appreciate you calling in. Thanks for watching the videos. I appreciate you.
No, I appreciate you guys, as a matter of fact.
All right. Well, have a good Saturday.
Thank you. Thank you so much for taking my call.
All right,
have a good one.
Bye.
That's actually a legitimate concern.
You think so?
I mean, well, it's legitimate to talk about it. I don't know that it's a legitimate relative to it's going to happen, that there's going to be some crazy black market. Mm-hmm. There's a saying among gun nuts that when you make firearms illegal, then only criminals will own guns. Mm-hmm. I don't know how. It's more paranoia than anything else. Another call. Thanks for calling the show. Who is this and where are you calling from?
Hi there. My name is Christopher from Minnesota.
Christopher from Minnesota.
Hello, Christopher.
Hi there. I'm calling in real quick because I wanted to discuss about the Mueller investigation and also the Stormy Daniels things that seem to be coming ahead for this administration.
Yeah.
Now, my personal thoughts is that I think it's pretty likely that President Trump will probably be leaving office before his term comes to an end. There seems to be too many things happening all at once, too many scandals happening all at once, that I think it's really, really unlikely that someone of not just his intellect, but even if it was someone smarter, someone who was more, manipulative, would have a very difficult time maneuvering around this. So that said, I was curious, though, what your guys' perspective was that when the base sees, the fall of Donald Trump and this fall of Trumpism, where do you think the base of Donald Trump would go eventually? Because they're eventually going to either double down or they're going to move to a different kind of ideology with their own destructive behaviors. Where do you think that would go?
Well, I wonder if someone will step in and be another Trump-esque figure to kind of fill that role and continue doing for that base what Trump is doing for that base, right? Because they're not just going to go for normal people anymore, right?
Yeah. I mean, he's brought the radical fringe of the right more into a palatable zone, kind of. It's not in the middle, but a lot of these wingnuts have kind of adopted it as the new normal.
Right, to the point where if someone like John Kasich is running, they think he's like a Democrat.
Right.
They don't want to even deal with him.
Brittany, he's not a Democrat. He's a fucking cuck.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I think you bring up a great point, actually, because me and my friends, we've discussed it a lot. We've noticed the trend within the country that a lot of right-wingers seem to be a lot of conservatives seem to be going to a far right-wing extremism, while left, Democrats seem to be becoming more centralist, while previous generation of Democrats during the Obama administration seem to become more extreme leftists in many ways. Do you guys see that pattern at all?
I do see that. I think the Democratic Party certainly has swung farther left, but
and I think they're trying. There's characters there too that are trying to pull people further left as well.
Yeah, and I think that is just I think that's just kind of a symptom of modernity, moving, to kind of taking care of one another. It was one thing to have these rugged individualist ideas surrounding libertarianism when you lived 20 minutes or a day's ride from your nearest neighbor, and you had to be self-reliant, and you had to be that kind of a character, you know, that rugged frontiersman, kind of a Daniel Boone type.
Yeah.
Well, we don't fucking have that anymore. That's not the way things are, and libertarianism largely doesn't work. So I don't know.
Great. That was a great answer to my questions, actually.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you, Christopher. We appreciate you calling in.
Yeah, we appreciate you. Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you.
All
Goodbye.
right. All right, brother.
We should be telling everyone Happy St. Patrick's Day.
We should, shouldn't we?
You're wearing green.
By coincidence, I'm wearing green.
Oh, is it a coincidence?
No, it's not. The shirt I wanted to wear
Yeah.
was not clean.
The green shirt that you wanted to wear.
That's right. It had science, says science, and it's Kelly green.
And it was not clean.
It was not clean. It had a very Jesse D smell to it
Uh-oh.
from previous wearings.
Uh-oh. Yikes.
So that's good. Two solid calls.
Yeah. And someone in the chat said you guys are doing a service just by allowing the public to vent. Julius.
That is largely, not largely, that is definitely an element of what we do.
Yeah, I think it's great. It's something that we love to do on the podcast. Those of you that are watching that don't know what this is, it's the podcast. And we love hearing from people, hearing how they're feeling. And looks like we have another one.
Yeah. Welcome to the show. Thanks for calling. Who is this and where are you calling from?
It's your brown brother from the other side of the Atlantic.
Wayne. Loyal
How you
listener.
doing, my friend? Are you all right?
Wayne from the UK. How can we help you, fine gentlemen?
I'm good. I'm not going to use my trademark word today because I don't want you to get demonetized.
Thank you, sir.
So my question to you is, what do you think about what's going on over here at the moment from the reporting that you've seen?
What's going on over there related to what exactly? There's always something going on.
Kind of Salisbury, Russia, nerve agent poisoning.
Oh yeah, it was either that or the royal wedding that I know you're just obsessed with, Wayne. Listen,
yeah, sorry.
I think he apologizes for it. Sorry about that, everybody. Hey, I think it is appalling. And I'm glad that that your government is taking steps to thoroughly investigate, especially the second case, because it could be argued that this second guy who was like 67 years old and was found dead in his apartment, or in his flat, as you would say. They would say, hey, well, he was old. It's not necessarily something to really worry about. But I'm glad that Scotland Yard is in there, or maybe it's even what would MI5? Is that what that would be in there investigating? Or is it just the local municipality?
It might be the MIBs. We don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's good that they're really looking into it, because you cannot have a hostile foreign enemy rotating in people, because clearly those who murdered them are probably not there anymore. They've gone back to Russia to escape any kind of detection. And you can't have a foreign power like that assassinating willy-nilly people that they don't like the opinions of, that used to be in service. It's those are the machinations for war. And you got
do you know what I think the problem is? We look like a soft touch.
Yeah.
Because we've got Brexit going on right now, which kind of means that we're distancing ourselves from the EU. Our partners after World War II, the people that we joined in with, we look like a soft touch now. We're isolating ourselves by saying, "Oh, look, this has happened on our soil. We're going to kick out some diplomats." Russia, in turn, kicked out the exact same number of diplomats, which is completely it's ridiculous. Why they've done that?
Let me ask you though, Wayne. Wayne, let me ask you. You're worried about being perceived as a soft touch, or maybe that you are being a soft touch. How would you? What kind of retaliatory action or what measure do you suggest to be taken other than what they've done? Because short of military conflict, really, what are you going to do?
Well, the thing is, the City of London is kind of a haven for dirty Russian money. Now,
Sure.
if we were to kind of clamp down on the laundering, which is going on massively and gone on for years here, that would hurt Putin more than throwing out a few diplomats. It's just a token gesture. Now, if we were to actually clamp down on the Soviet money that is greasing the wheels of things that are going on over here, it would actually hurt Putin more, because the thing is, he has reportedly taken so much money out of his own country and laundered it over here
For sure,
for his own
yes.
benefit.
Well, that's why, listen, that is why, and I don't know if you have a Magnitsky Act type of situation.
Yes, we do, but the Conservatives are blocking it.
That is fucking ridiculous. That absolutely needs to be championed by the people of Britain, because it is one way. It is the key feature that is causing Vladimir Putin so much heartburn, because he's not able to shift and sort his money in a more clandestine way. And it's definitely a problem.
So going back to what Wayne said, though, about the soft touch, when Russia is saying, and they are saying, that if there's further unfriendly actions, that there's going to be a problem, they are responding to what the UK is doing, right? They feel it is unfriendly. That's the word they're using. So do they need to go further, or is Russia getting the message with what they've done?
Wayne, what do you think?
Well, for me, the fact that we look so weak, we look like that little leaf that's about to blow away with regards to the EU, with regards to NATO. We look that weak that Russia are now taking this opportunity to kind of go, not so much, go away. And we look like that. And the biggest issue for me is I'm an Arsenal fan, and we've just drawn CSK Moscow in the Europa Cup, which means we've got to go to Russia
Wow.
to play a game.
Well, maybe sport will be the diplomatic element that you need, Wayne.
No, but seriously, like our Arsenal fans are fearful of going to Russia for the repercussions of this political fallout.
Yeah.
Because there is history of Russian fans attacking English fans at the last World Cup in France, and it kind of has these political ramifications based on what's going on politically, that then transmogrifies into the fans' response in football. It's so silly that we're having these worries. Like our politicians, our powers that be, are actually having these kind of ramifications with regards to football fans.
Yeah.
Football fans are genuinely scared of going to another country just to watch a game of football because of all this stuff that's gone on.
Yeah. I feel you, man. I feel you. Thanks for
Anyway, I'll let you guys get on. Thank you very much for taking my call. Lovely to talk to you at a normal hour of the day.
We love you, brother.
Bye, Wayne.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, we'll just take the next call rolling in. Thanks for calling. Who is this and where are you calling from?
How you doing? This is Julius. I'm from Queens, New York.
Julius from Queens, New York.
Hello.
What's on your mind today?
How's it going? So I haven't been watching you guys for too long. I actually recently discovered you, I want to say about 2-3 weeks ago. And I was very, very impressed. Like, I like your style. I dig everything that you're saying. And it's just refreshing to see, how do they say that, like a media personality speak the truth. You know, even a couple of minutes ago when you said, no, he's a fucking cook. Like, I love it. Like, I'm the one in the chat who said I think you guys are doing a real service. And, you know, not to sound too corny or anything, but it really should be applauded because a lot of people are knocking at the knees. We got goose steppers everywhere. We got all types of craziness going on.
Yeah.
And it's almost like people, how you would say, what they used to tell us as kids, civics and all of that, it's almost like the civic spirit has been reduced to, you know, knocking at the knees. And I don't understand this. I hate to say it. I don't hate to say it this way. It's just so divisive. But if Hillary or Obama would have done half of the half of the half,
Yeah,
or just been accused of half of this, it would be, you know, people be losing their mind.
Well,
So I don't
Julius,
understand how we
Julius. What I think you're losing sight of, Julius, is, but her emails. There were deleted emails, Julius. Look, I know Donald Trump is banging. I know Donald Trump is banging porn stars left and right, and cheating on Melania while she's having a kid, his baby, and colluding with Russians financially and electorally. But you got to remember the emails. The emails.
Well, I am 37 years old right now today.
Well,
and
happy
what
birthday.
that effectively means, oh, no, it's not a happy occasion at all. Like, I'm literally going gray and receding at the same time.
That's a good look for men, right? It's okay for that, for men, right?
Yes, sure.
Sure. But what I'm trying to say is, at 37 years of age, I grew up, and anyone near my age, you grew up seeing this seething hatred for specifically Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, sure.
But also her husband. Like, there's always talk about what he did, and Monica, this, that, and the other, right? I'm shocked to see so-called regular media, meaning non-Fox, regular guys, the MSNBC, the people on CBS. I'm shocked to see that people are actually pivoting away from giving this orange bastard the third degree.
Yeah.
The third degree. Like, they're actually saying in the media now that this is not about the affair. It's really about the payments and da-da-da-da-da. Bill Clinton must be somewhere pulling his fucking hair out.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm one that I don't give Donald Trump a pass because it's two consenting adults, because Melania wasn't consenting. And whatever dirty trash.
She's purchased. He's got the receipt for her.
That's right. Whatever dirty trash that Donald Trump has dripping off his little Donald she's not consenting to that. So it is a problem. Anyway, listen, Julius, thank you for the call.
I'm sorry.
We've got a shit ton of calls coming in, so we appreciate you calling.
Take care, guys.
Thank you, Julius.
All right.
So before we go to the next call,
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about what he said there, because that is an interesting point, and this kind of inconsistency between how Republicans felt about the Clintons in the past and how they're viewing this Stormy Daniels affair now. And 70% of Democrats found credible Daniels' account, found her account credible of the affair with Trump in 2006, while just 11% of Republicans said the same.
Yeah.
Okay. So majority Democrats find the story credible. Only 11% of Republicans feel that that is credible. Okay.
It's
and then
wacky.
If he did have an affair, 82% of Democrats said that it would be immoral, compared with 54% of Republicans. Okay. 54% of Republicans would feel that's immoral. What's going on with the evangelical community?
That's exactly right. Oh, we're going to give a mulligan on this one.
Right?
Well, and then the other thing I hear from Christians all the time is, well, Jesus forgives. Yeah, but you have to ask for forgiveness. You're not just automatically, like, even with the sinner's prayer and being born again, you have to confess with your mouth and believe in your heart that Jesus Christ, I'm going to be a little preacher in here, that Jesus is the Son of God, and then you're saved. It's not just, it's freely given, but you got to ask for it. Donald Trump has never fucking asked for forgiveness for anything in his goddamn life.
2 Corinthians.
Let's move on to a call. Thanks for calling. You're on the air. Who is this and where are you calling from?
Oh my gosh, this is Brian from Oregon.
Brian from Oregon.
Hello, Brian.
Hello, Jesse and Brittany. It's wonderful to talk to you guys.
It's
Good
great
to talk to you.
What's on your mind?
Oh, well, just want to call and, just to say I appreciate, what you guys are doing on the air. I listen to you every day or whenever you guys put your podcast out. And just thanks for being a clarifying and supporting voice in the crazy-ass fucked up times we're going through right now.
Oh, we appreciate it. It's we are, we just celebrated our 4th anniversary of the show, and we it is something we talked about last episode. We really we do appreciate the fact that we have an audience, because we are moving the conversation forward together, not just me and Brittany doing it. That's why we take calls. That's why we have voice memos and voicemails played on the show, because
team
we want
effort.
Yeah, it is a team effort. It is it's a conversation. So we appreciate it, Brian.
Yeah, and I'm glad you guys welcome certain people in who actually have really interesting points of view, because there's stuff that I think that I have all the answers to, and it's just kind of well, shit. Somebody else has a better explanation for it.
Yeah, listen, you're singing my tune, brother, because I'm wrong. I mean, if you listen to the 4 years of the show, I went from something completely different than I am now. I started. That was my origination point.
Well, why can't everybody be like Brian and recognize that there are people out there that have things to say that they can learn from, right?
Yeah.
And that it's okay,
Brittany,
right? Yes.
Brittany, can I just say something?
Yes.
You may want to be careful before you say that about me, because I just want to say this. I don't know if you remember or not. I'm the guy who admits to ripping them on the airplane in the subway.
Okay. You know what? I take everything I just said back, and you disgust me, sir.
I know.
How
and
dare
that
you,
is something
sir?
You and my wife have so much in common about.
Yeah. Well, just any normal thinking person has that in common with me and your wife.
I have the drop. I played it over him, but just so he hears it.
How dare you, sir?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And anyway, I just wanted to say, Jesse, I discovered you about a year ago. I think on one of your YouTube videos, and when you were doing a takedown of Tommy Lahren.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw your picture, and I was just kind of and I had this preconceived judgment in my head. I'm like, this guy looks like a conservative. I'm like, who is this guy? But I'm like, wait a minute. I watched the video. I'm like, no, wait a minute. He's actually ripping on Tommy Lahren here. I'm like,
yeah.
I like this guy.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that.
He just has a Republican face.
I
What are you gonna
just
do?
have one of those dumb faces, I guess.
But no, you're totally awesome. My wife and I love you. We listen to you every time. So keep it up, guys. Please keep it up.
Thanks, Brian. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
the call.
No problem. Have a great day, guys.
You too. Hey, happy St. Patty's Day.
Oh, yeah, tomorrow's my birthday too.
And happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thanks.
I hope no one farts near you in public.
All right, brother.
Brittany, I don't care if anybody farts around me. I don't have a sense of smell.
Oh, see, that's just not.
Not cool.
All right.
Not cool.
Not cool. All right, brother.
Bye.
Wow.
People who don't understand the background there are probably like, why is she threatening him with public farts? But it's because it's because he admitted to doing that.
That's right.
Why.
I hope no one farts near you.
On a previous email, please turn your radio down.
Ooh.
Thanks for calling.
Sorry about that.
Who is this and where are you calling from?
My name is Joey. I'm calling from Perth, Western Australia, but formerly from Chicago. Champaign, Illinois.
Joey from Western Australia.
Perfect. Hi, Joey.
Yeah.
Let me make a lame radio joke. It's Joey calling from the future, everybody. Good times. Wacky Morning Zoo here.
Oh, Jesus.
All right. I got that out of my
3
system.
a.m., kind of already drunk from St. Patty's Day, so we're all good.
How can we help you, brother?
So my question is this. I put in the chat, but primarily my biggest thing is that as an American living abroad, first off, my favorite thing that everyone always says is, so how do you feel about Trump? Is the standard go-to for everyone.
Yeah.
But my biggest thing is that you see on CNN and MSNBC, basically the common conception is that everyone always goes, basically Australia had this thing happen in 1993 and was able to pass, 1996 and pass laws in 1999 about the mass shootings. What do you feel it will take? I mean, we've already had such a horrible tragedy with Sandy Hook. What will it take for us to be able to pass appropriate gun laws to the point where like a buyback program like Australia passed?
Well, I think it's not productive. This isn't to shit on your point, but I think it's not productive to look all the way ahead to that type of a point. I think we need to fight this war battle by battle and take ground where we can. If our end state, our end goal is to do something like Australia did, then we need to do it appropriately. And by appropriately, I mean effectively. There needs to be efficacy within the effort. And looking all the way ahead, it's hard to start at point A when you're looking at point Z. You know what I mean?
It's also hard to look at other countries as a model and say, well, how can we do what they did and have it be implemented as successfully in the United States as it was in the other country because of the difference in cultures and the gun culture that exists in the United States.
And there's a reason the gun culture does exist here from just a historic standpoint. I mean, it's a multifaceted issue we're dealing with. Do you have ideas? Do you?
Yeah, solve this problem for us right now, Joey.
We're making history here, Joey.
Well, I mean, primarily the problem is that as someone that lived in, well, I mean, as it's been shoved down my throat several times when people hear my accent, is that, well, Chicago, isn't that like one of the worst places to live with gun violence?
Yeah.
It's like I was lucky enough to live on the north side, but either way, the fact is like, I mean, I understand with the Second Amendment and everything like that, but people sit there and it's outside of our country. The sane people go, but that law was written when a gun could only shoot one every 3 minutes, not 30 every minute or something, something drastic like that. Like, how are Americans unable to evolve? And that's our biggest thing, is like, that's how people outside our country looks like us.
Listen, I agree with you. It is it's a battle we fight not just amongst ourselves, but also kind of a public relations battle with the rest of the world looking at us like we're absolute fucking barbarians. And in a lot of ways, there's validity to that viewpoint. It's owning an AR-15 because you feel like, you live out in the middle of the woods and or even in a rural community, and you think that the gang of spies is going to roll in and hold you hostage. Everybody has these ideas of grandeur, that there's such danger everywhere, when violent crime largely is decreasing.
Well, going back to what Joey said in the beginning of his call, where he's always asked, as an American living abroad, what his opinion is about Donald Trump, I think that many people are curious, because I was speaking to someone who is from Korea, and they were saying that the election of Donald Trump makes them like suspect, wonder about Americans and what's really going on. So I think that people who don't live here want to talk to Americans about it and be like, what's up? Like, why'd you guys do this? How'd this happen?
the problem with that, and Joey could speak to this better than me, but I think it's difficult to explain our electoral system, the Electoral College specifically, to people in a way, because it seems it's cumbersome and archaic and undemocratic in so many ways.
Well, I started to get into that. I'm like, well, he didn't win the popular vote, and he only won the electoral college. And they're just like, what? No, give me a short answer of what's wrong with Americans.
How does that get explained, or how is that received where you are, Joey?
I mean, basically, the biggest thing I hear from my fellow people here in Western Australia, because I've lived in both countries for nearly half my life. I was originally born in America, but then moved here until I was like 8 years old. The biggest thing is that, the non-requirement, we have compulsory voting here in Australia. And as a citizen, I actually happen to be a dual citizen, is that not only do you have compulsory voting, but they also have preference voting. So the fact is, if you vote for one party and that party doesn't make it through, then they'll pass their votes on. So like is it like a that's closest to them?
Is it like a ranked choice voting? Is that what it is?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So if you go ahead and vote for our version of the Democrats, which is a Labor Party, then if you vote for, like, say, a minor party, say like the Greens, the closest party to us is the Labor Party, so we'll go ahead and pass our votes on to them.
Right, but you also have a parliamentary system there.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're not voting for the actual person, you're voting for the party to control, because the person can be thrown out. Whether they've had like 8 prime ministers in the last 6 years. Right. God forbid we ever did that in America.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing is that they go, you're wasting your vote, and also the biggest thing is like, what do you mean you don't have to vote? They don't even understand that.
Yeah. Trump, baby. We have that guy too.
Yeah,
so.
good times.
Well, Joey, thanks for the call.
Well, I do appreciate your.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
No, I do appreciate your time. I watch every podcast on the other side of the world. Thank you very much, and you guys are awesome.
Well, hang on one second, Joey. You know that the podcast is not just the video, that we have the audio version you should subscribe to on Apple Podcasts or Google Play Music, which is a twice-a-week audio podcast, just like this, except with no video.
Look at that plug.
Absolutely, I get it. I get it delivered every time.
All right, good die.
Awesome.
Thanks, brother.
Well, thank you very much, guys. You have a good day. Bye.
Awesome.
Bye.
Well, that's good. A lot of international action.
Yes,
Anything,
very good.
Anything going on in the old YouTube chat in between calls?
Not so far, but
All right.
it's good to know that people can call internationally, because I think that someone had asked that in the chat before they called. So that's good.
Awesome.
Someone said they were trying to call, but there's so many calls that they had a difficult time getting through.
Joey was one of them. He had called over and over and over.
And they were going to ask if either of us had watched the Red Pill documentary and what we thought about it.
Isn't that the MRA documentary?
I believe that is the MRA documentary.
I got...
MRA meaning Men's Rights Activists.
I
for
got...
those of you
What did
who
I make?
do not know.
8-9 minutes in, and I couldn't take it anymore?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I watched
good.
more than that.
Yeah, for sure.
I guess we'll talk about it later.
That's right. Thanks for calling. Who is this, and where are you from?
This is Walter.
Walter.
A.K.A. Stephen.
Hey, Steven. How are you?
Man, bro, listen, I got so much stuff going on here, and I'm watching you now, and it's weird. It's like I'm way behind, bro. Like
way behind on the YouTube
in the video. Like
yeah,
it's not even live, man. It's terrible.
That's technology.
Just turned you guys on.
Well, how can we help you, brother?
Man, so I just want to hear you guys' thoughts on all the moves in the in the White House with all the firing and stuff. Looks like Trump's trying to push his new guy through. What you guys think about that?
Well, it's chaotic to say the least. What I find most amusing, then I'll talk about it, is the fact that Donald Trump is trying to put this out there like it's his plan all along. I like the chaos because it brings new perspectives, which is a ridiculous assertion.
Is he saying that?
Yeah.
Huh.
Because Donald Trump can't even be disagreed with on policy matters inside or outside of a room where he is. He has to be treated with reverence and almost deified, or he gets all butt hurt and crosses his arms like a weirdo.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
But listen, I think it is troubling. It is troubling because as bad as Tillerson was, we're going to get Pompeo now. As bad as some of these actors were, we're going to lose. Like, for instance, Gary Cohn, the chief White House economic advisor. Now we got a fucking TV celebrity, a celebrity economist from Fox News.
Oh my
goodness! And what is happening?
Right.
He nominated KT McFarland for a position within the National Security Council. And then when she was found to have plagiarized, she was also a Fox News person.
Right.
And then she was nominated to be the ambassador to Singapore.
Right.
And then that got squared away and put down.
Well, it's naturally going to get worse because the prerequisite for employment is applauding Donald Trump and loving what he does. So if we're this far into it and you're someone who is still applauding what he's doing and loving what he does, then Jesus Christ, that's a problem,
Well, it's like John Kelly.
At least these people who got in there early, like they have, we can give them kind of the benefit of the doubt, I guess, that they didn't know how bad things were going to get or whatever they could say.
Well, they get
but
nominated.
now these people that are in there, they know this has been a year. You know what's going on, and you're still choosing to praise him. You're choosing to go do this, and it's not for. It's not like they have good intentions. Like, I'm going to get in there and really try to. Change the course of things.
Well, on the campaign, when he said it's going to be so easy to be presidential, I'm going to be so presidential, it's so easy. They may have believed him, like, oh yeah, maybe he'll clean up his act and not be such a dick face.
Yeah.
And then he gets in there and like, oh, shit, no, he can't do it.
Yeah.
Now you know.
Yes.
This is it.
Right.
We have, Twitter McGee as president of the United States.
We do. Twitter McGee.
Right. Okay. Well, I guess my next question is now, I am I call myself a believer. I don't even call myself a Christian anymore. I dissociate myself from that and part of certain religions because of just the examples that Christian believers live, and they don't really live it out. They really don't walk it.
Sure.
And so I try to distance myself from that. And I just want you guys' perspective or take on the overwhelming support from Christians still, given all the evidence and all the scandals and all the,
Well, Walter, I would dial, and this is someone who's not a believer saying this, I would dial that back a little bit. I don't think the overwhelming, now, if we're going to start, classifying Christians, the overwhelming majority of evangelicals certainly support Donald Trump blindly, like a cult. However, not all Christians, not even the majority. 73% of America, conservatively, is Christian, but and he only enjoys like 32% of the country is okay with what he's doing right now. That doesn't equal the majority of Christians. The majority of Christians are decent, noble, normal people who see through this farce of a human. Yeah. So, but as far as far as evangelicals is concerned, it's not surprising, but it's still just shocking hypocrisy.
Yeah, it's shocking to watch them go on TV and talk about the Stormy Daniels affair. Like, we're just going to give him a mulligan, and they wouldn't be saying this.
Him and all that. Oh, if it was Obama, pause. Mute. We would have. Sure.
Yeah.
No, you wouldn't, bro. You wouldn't have done that. Sorry to interrupt you, Brittany, but I have these conversations with my brothers and sisters and people who may not share the same faith. To me, I've seen more righteousness and I guess a higher moral stance from those who don't even believe in what I believe. And I try to, I guess, hold my brothers and sisters accountable. Like, the world is watching. And you saying evangelicals, but I have people who consider themselves believers, and we get in debates all the time about this.
Yeah.
And they even told me before he was, president, before he was elected, I would show these people through videos the things that he would say that goes against our beliefs and our faith. Like, this guy is literally lying to you to get your vote.
Yeah. Well, it's so odd. It is so odd for me, having been a Christian for, most of my life, that, Matthew chapter 6, verses 1 through 5, judge not lest ye be judged, and with what level of judgment you mete out to others will be meted upon you. Take the plank out of your eye before you go looking at the speck in your brother's or sister's eye. Well, part of that, and we talked about this.
Dollemore's taking us to church right now.
That's right. But we talked about this earlier, and that is, you have to ask for forgiveness before it is given. You're not saved. Exactly. You're not saved by virtue of the fact that you have sinned and you're a creation of God, according to the Bible. You have to ask for forgiveness. You have to invite Christ into your life and your heart, and to be your personal Lord and Savior. Blah blah blah.
But isn't it enough? Donald Trump did eat the little cracker and he drank the little wine. Isn't that enough?
I drink my little wine. Yeah.
Right.
And I pointed that out to some believers too, and I was like, his book is, I forgot the author of the book, but it's titled something. What is it? The belief of positive thinking.
The power,
and that aligns with
the power of positive thinking.
The power of positive thinking. Now, doesn't that align with laws of attraction?
Yeah. Well, it's like Brittany was saying.
That's not Christianity, is it?
That's what, like Brittany was saying the other day. It's like The Secret. All you have to do is just Have a bulletin board with pictures of a Lamborghini on it, and you're going to get a Lamborghini.
Mm-hmm.
Get a Lamborghini, right? So that's part of the reason why he eats fast food every day. And as long as he believes he's healthy, he's healthy.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I bet you he couldn't quote 3 scriptures in the Bible.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No. He couldn't even tell you what his favorite scripture is. I'm sure of it. He'll probably just sit in the room with a bunch of Christians again and sit with his Bible and hold it up in the air like, oh, my God.
Yeah.
There's too many to choose
so
from.
Holy.
That's what he would say. There's too many for me to choose. I don't know.
So many scriptures.
They're all so
good.
There's no bigger Christian in the world, believe me.
Believe me. All right, Walter.
Yeah.
Thanks for calling in, brother.
Right,
we
brother.
appreciate you.
No problem, y'all.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, it's good that there's kind of a consensus, at least around our audience, that it is rank hypocrisy to act like Donald Trump is some Christian or covered by these other evangelicals.
Yeah, well, and we've had some Christians on the show for bonus episodes. Mark Traylor, a pastor in Boise, Idaho, and also Mark Russell. And I think that Christians like those men get frustrated with the Christian community and their support of Donald Trump, very much like Walter.
Let's put an edit spot in there. All right.
We also have the live stream going, so I guess I will talk while you figure out what you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for calling. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hello, this is James from Tennessee.
Hey.
Hello. I was wondering what y'all thought about Mike Pence being an evangelical following Donald Trump.
Wow.
What was the question?
What do we think about Mike Pence being an evangelical and having followed Donald Trump?
Oh. Well, he's joining the ranks of what all the other leaders in the evangelical Christian community are doing, which is enabling the president because they feel like the things that he can accomplish on their behalf, it's more important than who is actually in there, I think. So as long as he got Neil Gorsuch on the Supreme Court, as long as he's advocating for Christians in a public way, it doesn't really matter if he's genuinely a Christian or upholds their principles. It's more about ensuring their status and their place on the stage there.
Yeah, there seems
because they're worried about it.
There seems to be zero concern for making a deal with the devil as long as you get what you think you want.
Yes.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's true, and I agree with that.
Well, then that is...
Look at how easy this was.
That is a perfect call. that is the perfect call right there. What do you think about this? This is what we think. I agree with that.
We love it.
Thanks for calling.
Well, thank you so much.
We appreciate. We love Tennessee.
You too. Bye.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I like it when they go easy like that.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes calls about Mike Pence can be not that easy.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Another call. Thanks for calling. Who is this and where are you calling from?
It's John Peterson. I'm calling from northwestern Pennsylvania.
John Peterson. How can we help you, sir?
So I just wanted to ask you, do you think tomorrow night that we're going to really get some earth-shattering information out of Stormy Daniels?
I don't think it's tomorrow night. I think it's the following Sunday.
Yeah, it's the following Sunday.
And no. And no, I don't think we're going to get anything earth-shattering out of her. One of the reasons why is because if it was like something big deal, they would want to get this thing on the air. Instead, they're teasing it. And when you hear the lawyer talk on, I don't think, well, let me put it this way. There's going to be a lot of damaging information for sure. But I don't think it's going to be anything that changes anyone's mind one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Do you think that, well, do you think that now that you've reminded me it's not tomorrow night, so do you think they're putting it off, hoping that some resolution comes to it, or the reins are taken off of her and she's able to say something then? Or
Well, I think it's actually gotten
interviews already in the can.
It's actually gotten worse for her since they announced that she's going to be on 60 Minutes because now she's being sued for $20 million.
And Donald Trump has joined the lawsuit, which confirms that he indeed did have a relationship that he wants kept quiet.
Right. So it's not as I don't think 60 Minutes would be in cahoots with Stormy Daniels to try to get her into a better position in her lawsuit with Donald Trump. I think they're probably just trying to ratchet up as many views as they can, for sure. Honestly, to get as many eyes on it as possible, because it is in the news. And now that this $20 million lawsuit is coming at her, they're reporting on that, and 60 Minutes is in the headline.
Right.
So they're just trying to generate views, in my view.
The other thing is, though, where there is some stuff that's going to happen, it's going to happen later on down the line because it's part of the system and how it works, is Avenatti, the lawyer for Stormy Daniels, a.k.a., or actually it's Stephanie Clifford, a.k.a. Stormy Daniels. He pretty much just goaded and challenged. He dared them to sue, and now that they've sued, it goes to discovery, where each side gets to do depositions and gets access to documents and phone records and everything else. It is ridiculous that they're suing and that Donald Trump joined this lawsuit, because now the Stormy Daniels team and her lawyer is not some ambulance chaser. This guy is Ivy League educated, a big-time, powerful attorney who was responsible for one of the largest settlements in California history. He's a big deal.
I'll tell you what,
he's a pit bull.
He just pointedly said in an interview in the last couple of days, no equivocation, that Donald Trump absolutely knew about that payment to her.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't pull any punches about it. I mean, so if he's going to say something like that, you got to know he knows what he's talking about. But, I mean, when it comes right down to it, this is really a distraction from the important story. And I just hope Mueller ends up finishing the job. Thanks, guys.
We appreciate the call very much, John. Mueller is, for everybody's edification, is doing the job. He's not going to get distracted by this shiny object that is Stormy Daniels in this controversy. He may be looking into it eventually, but he's got a team of rock-solid investigators with decades and decades of experience. They're not going to be deterred from the facts or at the crimes at hand.
Mm-hmm.
So, good call. Get a little nervous when it's the Pennsylvania area. Like, ooh, what's this gonna be?
Really? Makes you feel nervous?
No, come on. It was really.
Yes. I don't know.
Didn't you? I'm sweating right now.
Yeah,
it's flop sweat.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this has been good. I like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We should do these more often. I think that they are informative for us. It's good for the audience. Get some different opinions, some good questions, and hopefully entertain some folks along the way.
Does that mean we're wrapping it up here?
Give it another 10 minutes or so. See how things go.
All right.
We're going to be back here tomorrow for everybody's knowledge. We're going to live stream the regular episode of the show. I think we're going to be doing it at 4 p.m. rather than 6:30, a little earlier, just to mix things up.
Mm-hmm.
Another call. Thanks for calling. Who is this and where are you calling from?
Hi there. My name is Jonathan. I'm calling in from Minnesota. I did have a quick question for you guys.
Yeah.
I was wondering, what do you guys think of the conservatism that stands today in America, especially for you, Jesse, where you were formerly a conservative at one point in time? How do you perceive conservatism today?
Well, conservatism has been jerked very far to the right. We talked about it early on in the show that the Donald Trump effect has kind of dragged into the center, falsely dragged it into this. It seems normal, this white nationalist movement and these fringe characters who before would have been laughed at. Listen, a guy named Pat Buchanan ran for president in 1996, and he had a campaign manager named Larry Pratt. Now, Larry Pratt is the executive director of the Gun Owners of America. The GOA is even more radical than the NRA. And when it was found out that Larry Pratt had given a speech where there were white supremacists in attendance, it fucking sank the campaign immediately. Now, because Donald Trump and the fast food celebrity culture that we live in and the reality TV culture that we have, it kind of legitimized Donald Trump in the mind of many. And I don't believe he really has any ideology politically, but he knows enough about the American people and the unwashed, uneducated, low information voter that he adopted these people to put around himself.
So do you think that it's fair to characterize the majority of conservatives as Donald Trump conservatives? Because I would say no.
Not as an ideological viewpoint, but I kind of separate ideology and then party preference.
One of the things that I was wondering at the same time is that conservatism as it stands today seems to be willing to some degree, much more willing to accept this extremism that's going on. So I'm wondering, why do you think that's happening? Why do you think that conservatism is so not necessarily enamored, but like vulnerable to this kind of propaganda, this kind of influence, this white supremacy, all these issues of racism, bigotry, hatred? Why do you think it's influencing conservatism so well?
Well, I guess I would ask who you're talking about. Are you talking about Paul Ryan, who's not standing up to Donald Trump, not speaking out against his behavior?
Yeah,
because
I wouldn't say it's politicians, though. I would say it's the people, specifically the constituents.
Okay, well, because when I see the leaders in the movement, people like Bill Kristol or I don't know,
thought leaders,
Tom Nichols, these people are dissenters, and they are not happy with the direction that many people in the Republican Party are taking in not denouncing Donald Trump, in supporting Donald Trump. I think there are pillars in the conservative community that are thought leaders, that are trying to speak out, that are trying to get people to come to their senses. And whether they're being successful or not, I don't know.
Well, I would say this.
But I know that many of those people laugh off the Trump puppets that are on those panels on TV.
But I don't consider them conservative.
The Trump puppets. Yeah.
Like this guy.
Donald Trump, baby.
That guy's not conservative. That guy's a Republican who's following Donald Trump. If you advocate for tariffs and abandoning decades of free trade policy, you're not a conservative. You're an isolationist. You're a protectionist. There are being conservative. It's an ideology of this is. I think our country would be better moving forward under these kind of principles. If you abandon those principles, you're no longer conservative. You're some other fucking thing. You're Trumpian. You know what I mean, Jonathan?
Yeah, I do actually. So this kind of leads to my final question then, which is, considering that you've got these isolationism or whatever you want to call them, these Trump supporters that exist within conservatism, do you think that there's an inevitable outcome? What do you think is the inevitable outcome for conservatism itself, where the conservative ideology seems to be influenced by these outside parties so easily and seems to be pulling away its constituents? What do you think is going to happen to it?
Well, I would caution you to think that it's only conservatism that is so vulnerable to influence, because liberalism is equally filled with people who will sway with whatever way the wind blows.
Yes, so I suppose I asked the wrong question. My question was more like, what do you think would happen to conservatism? Because right now it's happening to conservatism. It could happen to liberals later down the line. I'm wondering what's the issue that's causing, what's the common issue that's going on within the constituents that's allowing them to be influenced by this?
I think primarily it is the election of Barack Obama, and white people got fucking scared that they were no longer going to be in power. And there's the saying that when the scales start to level a little bit, equality seems like oppression. And I think that's what happened. People they freaked out. Oh shit, a black guy is president. And they want to take a hard jerk to the other side. And So, you know, I think largely it's race related.
I think that explains the issue, but I think to answer Jonathan's question, what the issue is there seems to be a breakdown in what the party platform is for the Republican Party. So I've seen people like Tom Nichols say that the Republican Party will not survive Donald Trump's presidency, especially if he gets reelected.
Yeah, but that's a different issue. That's the Republican Party, not conservatism. That's why I have a hard time answering the question, because I believe
That's a good point.
I said
That's
this.
a very good point.
I said this for a long time during the election. The Republican Party is dead. It is dead. There is no Republican Party anymore. And as long as these Republicans continue to deflect and defend and provide cover for Donald Trump, it's just nailing another nail in the coffin of their party. Now, conservatism is a different thing, I think.
So are conservatives going to go and form a new party?
Yeah, I don't know. You just mentioned some names. Tom Nichols, Bill Kristol. These are pillars. They are thought leaders within conservatism, and they're good men. They're not. These aren't assholes who want to toss grandma off of Social Security. They just have a different idea about how to run the country. They're not hateful. They're not racist, as evidenced by their opposition, their stalwart opposition to Donald Trump.
Right.
So I'm sorry, I can't give you a definite answer. I don't know. Maybe we didn't define terms enough.
Yeah.
Jonathan.
Possibly, and probably it's yet to be written in history as well. I was also kind of curious that if by the sounds of it, it sounds like you think that a lot of it is people resisting change to some degree. Is that what it sounds like to me?
Yeah, I think largely, for sure. I mean, it was the clarion call of Donald Trump's campaign is make America great again. Let's go back to a time when it was great, meaning 1950 or 1920 or 1850, back when things weren't fucking great for most of America, or for many of America. It was great for most of America because most of America was even wider than it is now.
Right. Well, and typically when people go to vote, they look at the values for which a politician stands and vote with the person who aligns with their values. And where does Donald Trump stand on anything? It's whoever told him something last. That's what he believes.
Yeah.
So it's hard to know actually what he stands for. He's been all over the place his whole life. So they just voted for someone who ratcheted up their fears and said, I can answer all of your problems.
It's also this romanticism for a guy who's a billionaire. Oh, he built a business. Blah. You heard the same kind of bullshit when Ross Perot ran. That, he's going to run the government like a business. Well, Dick, the government's not a business. It doesn't equate. Anyway, Jonathan, thank you for the call. We appreciate it, brother.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate talking with you guys. I think, Jesse, you bring a great viewpoint, especially from someone that comes from a conservative point of view at one point in time in your life. Brittany, you bring a very analytical point of view. I think you guys are great. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
We appreciate it. I think we'll take 2 more calls. What do you think?
Perfect. Yeah.
2 more calls, everybody. Oh, and here we go. Los Angeles.
Oh, nice.
Thanks for calling. Who is this, and from where are you calling?
Hi, my name is Scary, and I'm from Los Angeles, California.
What's your name again?
Scary.
Scary. Okay. How can we help you?
I also agree with what he said as well, because I feel like ever since from the time that Obama got elected, so at the end of the presidency, I feel like they also were the Republicans. I was just saying this out of fun. I feel like they were definitely showing their true colors, and then once the Orange Cheeto got in, it kind of felt it was like a whole cult of just hateful, crazy people.
It is shocking to me that more people aren't tuning into that, and it's not like I have some radar for racism or radar for bias or bigotry. It just seems so fucking apparent to me that that's what it is. That the day of Barack Obama's inauguration in 2009, Mitch McConnell and all these, John Boehner, all these different characters, they had a little secret meeting, and how are we going to undermine this president? And that's when they started the campaign. Look, it's so clear. I don't understand why it's not talked about more. because I think it would put things in perspective of what's happening now and why they've jerked so far to the other side.
That's true.
Yeah, we appreciate the call, Scary.
Hey, no problem. And I also feel like, it's also sad because some people who are supposed to be representing the people, and yet they have so much hatred in their heart. I feel like they should never be in an office at all.
I agree with you very much. All right. Have a good, happy St. Patrick's Day.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
I love your show, and I love you and Brittany a lot.
Well, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. How can you go wrong with people giving you some love?
You just can't.
You can't do
You
it.
can't go wrong with that.
I also told him to have a good, happy
I know.
St. Patrick's Day.
It made me giggle.
I hope your happy St. Patrick's Day is very good. What a moron.
Oh. It happens. It happens. It's okay.
All right, YouTube audience, one more call, and then we're going to call
Who
this.
is it gonna be?
Should we do one or two more?
Well, don't ask me that.
All right. That kind of puts you on the spot, right?
Yes.
Because then if you say one, then you look like a dick.
Yes, exactly. But then that also says what I want the answer to be. Uh-oh.
Oh. We'll do one more. We'll do one more. We'll give it another 5 minutes or so. I think we're going to do this more often. I really like this. I think it's...
Yeah, so it's a bummer for all the people that were trying to call and get through, and they were unable to. And sorry about that. I think when it first started, there was kind of a flood.
Yeah.
So...
Well, the problem is that we're a two-man operation.
Yes.
We're a one-man and a one-laid operation.
Exactly.
And I don't have a producer to screen calls and have a queue of calls. I mean, there's technology to do that.
Yeah.
But it's just us with a Google Voice number. So, you know.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
We're doing the best we can, everybody. Yeehaw! Just trying to get the technology worked out. Thank you for calling. Who is this and where are you calling from?
Hey, Jesse, how you doing? This is Charles from Atlanta.
Charles from Atlanta. Thanks for calling.
Hi, Charles.
Yeah. Hey, how you doing? Look, man, I'm a first-time caller. I really like, the videos you be putting out. You put a good quality content out there, man, and I appreciate that. And you pretty much come with things from a common sense perspective.
I try.
Nah, man, you're pretty much on point. Here's my thing. The alt-right, mainstream media pretty much basically started, latched on to this name. And it's like, did everybody forget where the alt-right, where that term came from and who these people really are? And it seems like that's, now when you think about the alt-right, you think about the Republican Party. And I wanted to know, how do you feel about that? And I also have another question for you, too, after you answer that. I want to get your thoughts on that.
Well, I don't want to glean something from your question that's not being asked, but I think what you're getting at is that why are they being called alt-right rather than like white supremacist? Is that kind of what you're saying? Yeah,
exactly.
I even in videos that I do, when I talk about alt-right, I say white supremacist, white nationalist, alt-right. I use several terms at once to really let people know what I'm talking about. Because if you consider yourself alt-right, you are a white separatist, a white nationalist, a white supremacist. You're a fucking racist. So I agree with you. So I can't answer for the media. I don't know. But for personally, I absolutely use descriptors that are accurate to describe the movement because that is exactly what it is.
Well, that's the one thing that I appreciate that you do in your content. Okay, here's my thing. The alt-right, when they mention that and, he gets the support from these dog whistles that come from Donald Trump, and everybody know how much of an a-hole he is. It's like the Republican Party that used to have decent morals and standards and everything. It's like that's gone.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that or no?
Yeah, I do. Well, largely, the Republican Party has allowed themselves to be overtaken by the outer fringe of that conservative side of the movement, of the Richard Spencer types, the Steve Bannon types, the Stephen Miller types, and
Jared Taylor too.
Yeah, Jared Taylor, right? I mean, he's a little bit more of the fringe because he's more out. He doesn't use the code words. He's more of kind of aligned with David Duke, who just says it like he feels it and doesn't try to put any candy coating on it like Richard Spencer does.
Right, but see, here's the thing that we have that manifested from the types of Jared Taylor. One of his biggest fans is Dylan Roof.
Yeah, sure.
And now Dylan Roof's sister just got arrested, for saying some things, and it was like, okay, the media doesn't say anything about this family per se, whereas when the guy died in Baltimore, they immediately, CNN put Freddie Gray. CNN put his mother on trial. And it was like, what the hell does her having been an addict before got anything to do with him getting killed?
Yeah, no, I there are problematic elements within our media, and what we need to do as a public is just hold them accountable and keep talking about this. And it's, it's not, there is no panacea, there is no overnight cure, but through conversations like this, things will eventually get better. So we appreciate the call very much, Charles.
Right. And I appreciate you, man, and I hope you keep putting that content out there that's full of facts, and don't put no cut on it, man. I like what you're doing.
All right. We appreciate you.
Mm-hmm.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, I'm already on my green beer.
All right. All right. Bye-bye. That is a perfect way to end the show.
Perfect.
We appreciate everybody there in the YouTube live stream, everybody who called. We want to do more of these. If you're not subscribed to the podcast, which is an audio podcast like all other podcasts, you can subscribe on iTunes or Google Play Music or Stitcher. There's a ton of ways to subscribe through a podcatcher on your smartphone. It's I Doubt It with Dollemore. You can go to dollemore.com. There's buttons there of how to subscribe. If you like what we do, you want to support the work we do here, help us move the conversation forward, help us produce the show to reach the audience that we do, you can do that through Patreon, which is a monthly, it's kind of like a GoFundMe, but on a monthly Kickstarter kind of a thing, but on a monthly basis.
Right.
You can give as little as $1 a month.
Yep.
And every little bit goes a long way toward helping us do what we do here with the videos and the podcast. Go to patreon.com/I Doubt It with Dollemore, or easier is dollemore.com/Patreon.
There you go.
Just that easy. We are going to go. Once again, for those of you who are subscribed to the podcast, if you want to sound off, leave a voicemail, leave a voice memo at 657-464-7609. Of course, you can always email a voice memo from your smartphone to idoubtit@dollemore.com. We love you. We appreciate you. And we will see you next time. For Brittany Page, I am Jesse Dollemore, and this has been I Doubt It.